Abandoned kitten that exposed a dark secret. What would you do if you discovered that adorable stray kitten you rescued was actually evidence in a shocking case of animal abuse? That's exactly what happened in today's mind-blowing story. Hey everyone, welcome back to Reddit Bit. Picture this, a rainy day in Portland, a tiny silver gray kitten huddled under a park bench, and a dark secret lurking in what seemed like a perfect neighborhood. Sophia thought she was just saving a starving kitten. Little did she know, that small act of kindness would unravel a disturbing operation that had been hiding in plain sight for years. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss how this ends. Let's dive in.
It was a typical rainy Sunday in Portland when I found her. I was heading back from my favorite coffee shop, cutting through West Side Park to avoid the downpour, when I heard this tiny, desperate meow coming from beneath a park bench. I crouched down and saw these incredible emerald eyes staring back at me from the shadows. This tiny silver gray kitten was huddled there, soaking wet, formatted with mud, and so skinny I could see her ribs even in that dim light. "Hey there, little one," I whispered, slowly reaching out my hand. I expected her to bolt, but instead, she wobbled toward me on shaky legs. When I picked her up, she weighed practically nothing, just this tiny ball of bones and wet fur that immediately started purring against my palm. I called my roommate Jess right away. "Hey, I'm bringing home a kitten. Can you grab some tuna and maybe set up a box with a towel?" Back at our apartment, Jess took one look at the kitten and gasped. "Oh my God, Sophia. She looks terrible. Who would abandon a kitten like this?" We gave her a gentle bath, dried her off, and wrapped her in a warm towel. As her fur dried, we noticed how unusual her coloring was. This beautiful silver gray with subtle tabby markings that almost disappeared in certain lights. "You know," Jess said, squinting at the kitten who was now devouring a plate of tuna, "she looks like she might be a Maine Coon mix. Those are pretty expensive cats." "Really?" I was surprised. Who would abandon an expensive cat? "Maybe she escaped," Jess suggested. "We should check if anyone's looking for her." The next day, I took her to the vet. Dr. Reynolds confirmed she was about 4 months old, severely malnourished, with a respiratory infection and ear mites. But she was going to be okay. "She's definitely got Maine Coon heritage," Dr. Reynolds said, examining her large paws and distinctive ear tufts. "But those faint tabby markings suggest she's mixed with something else." I named her Luna because of her silvery coat that seemed to glow in the moonlight. I spent the next week posting, found kitten flyers around the neighborhood, checking with local shelters, and posting in community Facebook groups. Nobody claimed her. After a month, I officially adopted Luna, got her microchipped, vaccinated, and scheduled her spaying. She was gaining weight, her coat was becoming luxuriously soft, and her personality was blossoming, playful, affectionate, and with this adorable habit of trilling instead of meowing when she was excited. I was scrolling through our neighborhood app one evening when a post caught my eye, warning to all neighbors, unethical cat breeder in our community. Victoria Mitchell on Cedar Street is running a Maine Coon cattery without proper licensing and with zero regard for animal welfare. I've witnessed her mistreating cats and have reported her to animal control. Please share and do not buy kittens from her. The post was from a woman named Maria Bennett who lived about 5 blocks away. It had dozens of comments, some defending Victoria, others backing Maria. I was about to scroll past when I noticed a photo Maria had posted of a silver gray adult cat with subtle tabby markings that looked remarkably similar to Luna. My heart started racing. Could Luna have come from this breeder? I clicked on Maria's profile and sent her a message with a photo of Luna. "Hi Maria, I found this kitten in West Side Park about a month ago. She looks similar to the cat in your post. I'm wondering if you might know anything about her." Maria responded within minutes. "Oh my goodness. Can I call you?" When we spoke, Maria's voice was shaking with emotion. "That kitten. I'm almost certain she's from one of Victoria's litters. I've been documenting Victoria's behavior for months." Maria explained that she lived next door to Victoria and ran a small animal rescue from her home. She'd become concerned about the number of cats she saw at Victoria's house and the conditions they were kept in. Victoria breeds Maine Coons and sells them for $1,500 each. But she's careless. One of her females got out and mated with a neighborhood tabby. When the kittens were born with those faint markings, Victoria was furious because they weren't pure and couldn't be sold for full price. My stomach turned as Maria continued. About a month ago, I heard shouting from her house. I went outside and saw Victoria chasing a cat with a broom, screaming that it had ruined everything. A few days later, I saw her walking toward the park with a box. I followed her, and when she left, I checked the box. There were 5 kittens inside, all silver gray with faint tabby markings. 5? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Yes! I managed to catch 4 of them. They were in bad shape, dehydrated, hungry, with minor injuries. I've been rehabilitating them at my rescue, but one ran off before I could catch it. Luna. It had to be Luna. What happened when you confronted Victoria? I asked. She denied everything at first, then claimed the kittens were defective and wouldn't survive anyway. She said I was costing her thousands of dollars by feeding strays that were contaminating her purebred lines. I looked at Luna, now curled up on my lap, purring contentedly. How could anyone call this perfect little being defective? I want to help, I told Maria. What can I do? Maria invited me to visit her rescue, and the next day I met Luna's siblings. They looked so much like her that there was no doubt they were related. We compared notes about their behaviors and quirks. All 5 kittens had the same distinctive trill instead of a meow. Maria showed me the documentation she'd been keeping, dates, times, photos taken from her property of Victoria's backyard, recordings of shouting and objects being thrown. I've been reporting her for months, Maria sighed. But she's clever. She cleans up whenever inspectors come by. And she has friends in the neighborhood who vouch for her. Like who? I asked. The HOA president, for one. They're old friends. He's warned me twice about harassing her. That explained why the authorities hadn't taken stronger action. I have an idea, I said slowly. What if I visited her cattery? Pretended to be interested in buying a kitten. That could work, Maria nodded. Just be careful. I created a new email address and contacted Victoria Mitchell, expressing interest in purchasing a Maine Coon kitten. She responded quickly, inviting me to visit that weekend. Saturday arrived, and I drove to Victoria's house with my phone set to record audio in my pocket. The house looked perfectly normal from outside, a well-maintained craftsman with a manicured lawn. Victoria greeted me with a practiced smile. She was in her mid-40s, expensively dressed, with a polished demeanor that screamed successful businesswoman. You must be Jessica, she said, using the fake name I'd given her. Come in, the cats are in the sunroom. The front of the house was immaculate, but as we moved toward the back, I noticed the smell, that unmistakable odor of too many cats in too small a space, poorly masked by air fresheners. The sunroom was a converted porch with about 12 cats in various cages. Most looked healthy enough, but the space was clearly overcrowded. Several cats had eye discharge, and one was missing patches of fur. These are my breeding queens and studs, Victoria explained proudly. All championship bloodlines. The kittens are in here. She opened a door to a small bedroom containing 3 large cages with kittens of various ages. They were clean but cramped, with barely enough room to play. I have 2 litters available now, she said. These silver kittens are $1,500 each, and the brown tabbies are $1,200. I pretended to be interested, asking questions about their care while secretly taking photos when she turned away. Then I asked the question I'd been waiting to ask. Do you ever have any problems with the kittens? Health issues or anything? Victoria's smile tightened slightly. My cats are all health tested and guaranteed. I occasionally have a kitten that doesn't meet breed standard, but those are sold as pets only, not for breeding. What happens to those kittens? I pressed. They're sold at a discount, she said dismissively. Now, were you interested in a male or female? As we continued the tour, I noticed a locked door. What's in there? I asked casually. Just storage, she replied quickly. Too quickly. When Victoria stepped away to answer a phone call, I heard scratching from behind that door. I quickly tried the handle, locked, but through the crack at the bottom, I could see movement. When she returned, I made an excuse about needing to discuss with my husband and left, my hands shaking as I got into my car. I immediately called Maria and described everything I'd seen and heard. I sent her the photos and audio recording. That locked room, I told her. Something's not right there. Maria thanked me. This helps. We're building a case, but we need to do this by the book. But I couldn't stop thinking about what might be behind that door. That night, I barely slept, haunted by images of cats suffering while bureaucracy slowly turned its wheels. The next morning, Maria called me in a panic. There was a huge fight at Victoria's last night. I heard crashing and yelling. Then, she drove off with a box in her car. I tried following her, but I lost her. My blood ran cold. Did you call the police? Yes, but by the time they arrived, she was back home. Claimed it was just a TV turned up too loud. I made a decision then. This couldn't wait any longer. That evening, I created a detailed post documenting everything I knew about Victoria Mitchell's operation. I included photos from my visit, with my reflection blurred out, information about Luna and her siblings, and Maria's accounts of Victoria's behavior. I ended with a call to action, asking people to report her to Animal Control and the Department of Agriculture, which licenses catterists. I posted it to our neighborhood app, local Facebook groups, and sent it to the Portland Animal Advocacy Network. I tagged local news stations and animal welfare organizations. The post exploded overnight. By morning, it had hundreds of shares and comments. Several people came forward with stories about sick kittens they'd purchased from Victoria. One family had spent over $3,000 in vet bills for a kitten that ultimately died from a congenital condition Victoria had concealed. Local news picked up the story. A reporter from KGW reached out to interview me and Maria. We showed them Luna and her siblings, now healthy and playful, alongside photos of their condition when they were found. Victoria tried to fight back. She claimed she was being harassed by crazy cat ladies and threatened to sue for defamation. But the evidence was mounting against her. 3 days after my post went viral, Animal Control and the Department of Agriculture conducted a surprise inspection of Victoria's property. With the public scrutiny, they couldn't delay any longer. Maria called me that evening. They found 6 cats locked in that back room, she said, her voice tight with controlled anger. No food, minimal water, living in their own waste. 2 needed immediate veterinary care. They seized all 24 cats from the property and charged Victoria with multiple counts of animal neglect and operating an unlicensed breeding facility. The community rallied around the rescued cats. The local shelter was flooded with donations and adoption applications. Maria took in 4 of the cats who needed specialized care. Victoria's business was finished. Her website disappeared, and a for sale sign appeared in front of her house a week later. According to neighborhood gossip, she was moving to Arizona to start fresh. But the internet never forgets. When I searched her name, pages of articles and posts about the case appeared. No matter where she went, her reputation would follow her. As for Luna, she continued to thrive. Her favorite spot was on my pillow, purring directly into my ear at 5 a.m. to let me know it was breakfast time. Her siblings were all adopted into loving homes, and Maria sent me regular updates on their progress. One evening, about 6 months after the whole ordeal, I was sitting on my couch with Luna curled up beside me when I received an email from Animal Control. Thought you'd want to know. Victoria Mitchell pled guilty to 3 counts of animal neglect today. She received a $5,000 fine, 200 hours of community service, and is prohibited from owning animals for 5 years. This wouldn't have happened without you and Maria bringing this case to light. Thank you for being a voice for these animals. I looked down at Luna, gently stroking her soft fur. She had no idea how her life had changed so many others, how her rescue had led to justice for dozens of cats who couldn't speak for themselves. You hear that, buddy? I whispered to her. We did it. She blinked slowly at me and trilled softly, which I chose to interpret as her way of saying, of course we did. I chose you for a reason. Sometimes the smallest beings can create the biggest changes. All it takes is one person willing to stand up, speak out, and fight for those who can't fight for themselves. Luna taught me that, and it's a lesson I'll never forget.
Oh, what a journey, right? Let's recap what went down. Sophia found Luna, a half-starved kitten in the rain, nursed her back to health, and then discovered her previous owner was running an illegal breeding operation where imperfect kittens were literally thrown away when they couldn't be sold for profit. Talk about infuriating. But this story teaches us some powerful lessons. First, always trust your instincts. Sophia knew something was wrong when she saw Victoria's operation, even though everything looked perfect on the surface. That gut feeling? It matters. Second, documentation is crucial. Without Maria's meticulous record-keeping and Sophia's undercover photos and recordings, this case might never have been proven. In today's world, evidence speaks louder than accusations. But the biggest takeaway here? Never underestimate the impact one person can have. Sophia could have just enjoyed her life with Luna and forgotten about where she came from. It would have been easier to stay out of the drama. But by choosing to get involved, she saved dozens of animals from suffering and brought a criminal to justice. Animal abuse thrives in secrecy. Abusers count on people looking the other way, making excuses, or being too afraid of confrontation to speak up. Every time someone breaks that silence, they chip away at the systems that allow such cruelty to continue. What would you have done in Sophia's situation? Would you have gone undercover to gather evidence? Would you have risked potential legal threats by posting about Victoria online? Let me know in the comments below. I'm dying to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this tale of justice and redemption, smash that like button and subscribe to Reddit Bit for more incredible stories about family drama, relationship chaos, and everyday heroes making a difference. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the smallest beings can create the biggest changes. See you in the next video.